dad didn't drive, nor did Marguerite. But they got a family car because the boys knew how to drive. Where they learned, I don't know.
Yeah.
And subsequently the girls, I'm sure. And so they had a family car, and there was a lot of jiggling. Bill and Dick, oh, they were pretty young. I think Dick was 16 when we got married, so dating and the car, I don't know if they ever were allowed. So Daddy got the car quite often. And I'm trying to remember. I don't think Bob was there. I think he was in Ellensburg teaching. Doesn't matter. It was a crowd to me. It was a crowd, and then the fact that the Marguerite and Mr. T were there. They had Bondu. You've heard about Bondu.
Bondu?
Mrs. Bondu?
No.
Oh, well, she was the cook. See, Marguerite was not well.
Oh.
She had a whole series of heart attacks. She shouldn't have had, from what I understand, Bill and Dick. But those days they didn't know what they were doing, and so they arrived, and
Yeah.
Bill was 9 pounds, 10.
10 pounds? Wow.
And which, you know, exerts on the heart, I suppose. I have no doubt it does. And but years ago, when they lived up across from the church, the way I understand it, Bondu was destitute. She was practically on the street. And Marguerite took her in, and already Marguerite was having troubles because all the kids were born. She had the 8 by that time. And so Bondu was a cook. It worked out fine, and so she cooked, and she did the laundry. There was laundry in that house, that's for darn sure. And so when they moved from that house, the old gentleman took sick, and they sold that and bought a cheaper house down there on 22nd, 504, and she came with them, and it worked out fine. There was a bedroom for her there, and so she came in. She was with them forever, for the longest time.
Wow.
Yeah, and it got so that I could drop in on the house. I had a friend up on, well, we knew the people that bought the house from across the church, the Dunhams, and BJ was in school with me and at college, and I'd visit her, then I'd go down and visit Marguerite. Daddy'd be working after school or something.
Yeah.
He always worked after school. I guess at the gas station then, in those days. Yeah. So I'd visit down there with just Marguerite herself. And we got very close, I felt. Very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did I get into that? She was, oh, Bondu. So when I went to this first dinner, she was there, and she was the cook. And there was a swinging door between the kitchen and the dining room, and she'd come out. I didn't know who she was, you know. She'd come out, put the dishes on the table. In those days, they did the family style. There's a big dish of mashed potatoes, a big dish of vegetables.
Right.
And, or did we pass it around? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I didn't know who she was. Then I asked Daddy when we left, you know, who's oh, Bondu. And they didn't even bother with the missus. She was just Bondu.
Bondu.
She was Belgian.
Oh.
She knew the First World War, that's for sure. She's an old lady. By the way, she's an old lady.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's already in her 60s, but very hardy, very peasanty, if I may use the word, and strong.
Yeah.
Medium height, and not skinny, but not heavy in any way, just medium. And Sutton-like. She'd start every sentence with Sutton-like. And I got to know her. When I'd visit Marguerite, Bondu was there. Of course, we always visited. And she'd be busy doing the ironing. She'd smell up the house with it's called La France. you put it in with the starch,
Uh-huh.
and it has a marvelous aroma.
Oh.
And naturally, La France, being kind of Frenchy or Belgian-y, you know, from your own country, and she used it all the time. And she did the boys' shirts, I'll tell you, and they were semi-starch, not real much, but semi-starch. And the house just smelled of this. The shirt to be hanging, there was a rod somewhere between the living room and the dining room, and she'd have the shirts all hung up. Different days that I'd be down. I visited quite a bit down there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Marguerite. She didn't scare me, you know, at all. And but I was very cautious with the old gentleman. He kind of, Billy was very taciturn.
Oh, I get you.
Rather, well, he'd been sick, and now he was back. And maybe he was still on tender hooks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I never asked. No, but he was awfully kind. you know,
Yeah.
kind, and but then I was just spooked. I wasn't used to fathers. I never had one.
Right.
I don't remember Leonard in any way.